beautiful models, whether they're men or women, have their beauty in their eyes and their smile and how those two things work together. So a lot of times you look in a magazine and you see models that look very cold and they're not smiling and they're not making eye contact, and I don't find that as beautiful as people who have crinkly eyes and big smiles and look warm.
Their teeth.
Her enthusiasm and her happiness and the way she conveys her message, the passion behind what she's saying. And in addition, looks always help. If she has that beautiful smile, that beautiful body, it brings out what she's really trying to send over to the audience. Thank you.
Most of the times it attracts me when it's like something they're wearing or how they like look or how their makeup is done and their body figure.
Just the face of the person in it.
When she has a nice face, normally blue eyes, blonde hair, skinny preferably, but doesn't really matter.
Embracing herself.
I think when she looks really well taken care of, so like her nails are done, maybe her hair, and she's wearing nice clothes, things like that.
So the body usually attracts my attention, and when I see makeup in a magazine, I want to buy it.
Her eyes, they're the windows to her soul. Her eyes, her body.
Clear their skin is.
What makes her beautiful is her eyes, especially her eyes and her lips. She have to have nice, juicy lips.
Well, most ads with women portrayed on them are like heavily photoshopped, so I mean, what makes them beautiful, I don't know. I mean, I prefer non-Photoshop ads because like it seems more realistic, you know, and convincing. Because if you literally have like a woman with like no like freckles, no moles, nothing, no like not zits or pimples, but like nothing, like just clear skin, I mean, it's obviously fake, you know. So I mean, I think just natural is beautiful.
There was once a girl named Julia. Julia wasn't your stereotypical average kind of girl. She wasn't that into the whole girly thing. Although she had nothing against the makeup, dresses, nail polish, or jewelry, and all the other girly things, they just weren't for her. It also wasn't in any of the magazines she read. Every Sunday, Julia would rollerblade to her favorite spot in the park, where she would sit on the bench right under the little tree, where she would have just enough shade to read in peace. Just look at her sitting there, minding her own business. Considering that she would rollerblade a long 3 minutes to her favorite spot, she would always make sure to bring some food and her favorite black hat to protect her from the sun. As Julia settled in and started reading her magazine, Bella was on her way to the park. Bella was almost completely the opposite when compared to Julia. She loved all the typical girly things. She would always wear dresses, would never leave the house without makeup and her bag. And her favorite spot happened to be just on the opposite side of Julia's. Although her spot was a tad uncomfortable, it was in the sun because she needed to maintain her golden tan. I mean, just look at her. You can't get any girlier than that. The character Sanjana. Although looking a little clueless, she's important and has a big role in the story. But I won't tell you guys what part she plays just yet. Sanjana rarely ever came to the park, but today she just had a gut feeling that she needed to be there. So when she arrived, she walked over to some trees under the shade and read her favorite book. Coincidentally, from where she stood, she could see both Julia and Bella perfectly. Was it really a coincidence? I guess you'll have to just wait and see. As Bella calmly read her magazine, something made her look up across the park, and for the first time since she arrived to her favorite spot, she noticed the other figure sitting in front of her.
Who is that?
She thought. She continued staring at the figure in the distance, and when she focused her gaze, she could see Julia eating her chips and enjoying the day. But something wasn't right to Bella, and she knew exactly what was wrong. Julia had no correlation with the magazine Bella was reading. Bella's magazine was filled with makeup, beauty products, celebrities, and ways on how to lose weight. It was basically her guide on how to be beautiful. So as Bella looked up from her magazine back at Julia with her magazine in mind, everything changed. So as Bella looked up at Julia, she thought,
Ew, what does she even think she's doing? Sitting there all disgusting, eating her chips like a beast? Does she not care what people think? She clearly needs some makeup to cover up her zit outbreak. She doesn't even have anything that the magazine says, like I do. Look, I have this expensive bag. Does she? No. And look, I have this red lipstick that I put on every single day to look beautiful. Does she? Nope. Might I add, it was quite expensive. But then again, beauty is pain, is it not? The magazine even puts the celebrities in there for an example. It can't get any easier. If she really wants to be beautiful, she needs to sacrifice her chips and buy one of these How to Be Beautiful magazines. Come on, how does she expect to be beautiful if she doesn't look like any of these girls? Just look at her sitting there eating her chips.
after quite an interesting observation, Bella looked back at her magazine in disgust and decided it was time to continue reading. On the other side of the park, Julia was also reading her own magazine. Julia didn't tend to read all those beauty magazines, but more about what people did with their careers and how to become successful. In many of her magazines, however, there was an indirect disgust towards those who did care about appearance and how that apparently coordinated with being uneducated. Just like Bella, for the first time since she arrived to the park, she looked up and noticed the other figure sitting in the sun.
Ew, who's that?
She thought, as she clearly saw the figure sitting in the sun. She noticed that Bella was the exact girl that she was not, wearing a dress, makeup, reading her beauty magazine. And as she looked down to her magazine, she also made the connection that Bella was nothing like the people in her magazine. With her own magazine in mind, she looked back up at Bella and everything once again changed. As she looked at Bella, she thought to herself,
She's sitting there probably looking at makeup products and how to make herself more beautiful. Because what else would she be looking at? From what I've read and seen, no one successful worries about that kind of stuff. Look at that expensive bag. She probably only has makeup products in it. Buy a book for Christ's sake.
Either way, Julia decided to look back down at her magazine and continue her read. As Sanjana stood in the corner, she had observed the two girls silently judging each other and had enough. She decided to first walk over to Julia and ask her to follow her to the middle of the park. Then she walked over to Bella, tapped her rather roughly, and demanded she also come to the middle of the park with her, where Julia was waiting impatiently. As Bella looked up at Julia, she saw the ugly beast she had previously seen that day. And she once again thought to herself,
Ew, she's even uglier up close. She should follow the magazine.
And as Julia looked up at Bella, she saw the ignorant girly girl and thought,
Or was I right? She only cares about the makeup products. What an uneducated clown.
Sanjana could tell that the two girls were still being manipulated by their magazines, so she decided to throw them as far away as she could and show them her own, which was more open-minded. Both girls had items from her magazine. Bella had a golden locket that was on the front page of her magazine, and Julia had the rollerblades, which was also to be seen. This proved that both girls were beautiful in their own ways. As the message truly sank into the minds of the two girls, their own magazines washed away. And as the two girls looked back up at each other, their perceptions were altered.
She is naturally pretty, which makes her look really confident. And she does have a really nice smile. I guess I was wrong.
Wow, she does seem nice. And the makeup does really suit her.
The girls then decided to stop being so judgmental and introduce themselves to each other. While talking, Julia noticed a book that sat in Bella's bag and asked if it was the book to be or not to be. Coincidentally enough, it was the exact book, and it happened to be both Bella and Julia's favorite book. The two girls then quickly became friends as they realized they had more in common than they thought, and walked away starting a new and long-lasting friendship. So kids, what have we learned from this short movie? Advertisements and magazines have the ability to highly affect the way people think and perceive others. We must remember to always have an open mind and to remember that it is not one standard quality to be beautiful. There is a lot that happens behind the scenes. whether it's positive or negative. Therefore, we must always remember that these advertisements are only showing us exactly what they want us to see. And what we think we may want to see, we are really only seeing the surface.